Maizy, thank you so much for being here. Today we have Maizy Fugate with us to tell us a little bit more about her story, her journey into the Catholic faith. We're excited to hear a little bit more about why St. Mary's and what brought you here. And so I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit. I'm going to ask you to just tell me a little bit about yourself.
For sure, yeah. I'm 26. I'm from the Iowa City area. I've always lived in Johnson County.
Nice.
I
Always in Iowa City?
the Kelowna area,
Okay.
so kind of right in between rural.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to school at Mid Prairie High School in Wellman, and I did my undergraduate here at Iowa.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I've always worked and lived in the area. So St. Mary's has always been kind of a fixture, like in the background, even
Hmm.
though I'm very new to the parish. But yeah, it's always kind of been in the background of growing up in the Iowa City area.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump off script a little bit
Sure.
here. Um, But like growing up around Iowa City, St. Mary's was something that you were familiar with?
Yeah, one of my aunts got married at St. Mary's,
Yeah.
so it was like I knew it was a Catholic church and I knew where it was. And I was actually born at Mercy Hospital just down the street from it, so it's always kind of,
Okay.
it's a landmark downtown. Like
Yeah.
walking
It's hard
around,
to miss.
right? You can always see the steeple from kind of wherever you are. So
Yeah. And that's not too far away from where you work, is that right?
yeah, it's like maybe a 15-minute walk and like a 5-minute drive. So
Oh,
yeah, real
okay.
convenient.
I mean, this is kind of a good segue into a little bit more about your story as a whole, and we can talk about OCI in just a second.
For sure.
But you kind of mentioned that you knew of St. Mary's, but what is your background with like the Christian faith as a whole?
Right. So I was raised completely secular. Um, yeah, never went to church growing up with family, but the specific area that I'm from and grew up in is super Christian, but
Mhm.
Mennonite
Mhm.
and other types of non denominational Protestant. And so I'd go to church with friends all the time. Like in elementary school, I went to Mennonite church for a couple years actually.
Mhm.
And yeah, did like the Sunday school at one of the Mennonite churches down there and some like kind of shorter Bible camps, things like that.
Mhm.
And later in high school, I went to a Baptist church in the area with some friends
Mhm.
for like a year and a half. And it's a nice thing to go to church with friends, and it's a nice thing to do for people if they want you to go. But yeah, it wasn't really clicking for me. It was just kind of like Christianity. I'm familiar with it. I understand it academically, it's part of this culture that I'm growing up in, but
Mhm.
I'm just kind of observing it and I'm not really part of it. But
Was
that
it
that
something
was
that you like kind of believed in at that point?
yeah, like being introduced to it at a young age, like in elementary school, that's kind of when you're forming your worldview and
Mhm.
everyone around you is like that is their worldview and that is their belief and that is like how they feel about like the genesis of everything.
Mhm.
And so it was just kind of always in the back of my mind is like, I feel like I should be a Christian, but I feel like I shouldn't call myself a Christian, like my family's not Christian. I don't go to church unless someone's inviting me to church. I don't really have a church community. I don't know what kind of Christian I want to be. And that's funny. That was always something I'd ask people like in my community or like new friends that I'd make at school, like what type of Christian are you? Like what church do you go to? And it's something that people would struggle to answer sometimes. And it's
Mhm.
something that I remember bugging me as a kid. Like
Yeah.
I want to know because I want to know like what you specifically believe. So yeah, it was to answer your question a little more succinctly, I feel like it was something I was always kind of reaching for, but just didn't really have the avenue to get to.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, 26 years old now. Um, what is it that was, what kind of ignited you to look in that direction of the Catholic faith?
Right. So my fiance's Catholic, his whole family's Catholic. So they were kind of my like diving off the cliff introduction to Catholicism.
Mhm.
Um, I hadn't really, I guess, interacted with a lot of practicing Catholics before. Like, I understood the history and I understood like what Catholics believe
Mhm.
theologically compared to other Christians. So it's coming from a very logical and academic standpoint.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, the first time I went to mass was with my fiance.
Mhm.
It's an offshoot parish or like extension of a former parish in the Duluth diocese,
Okay.
the Jean Baptiste parish. And there was a day where his parents were going to mass, and I said, "Do you just want to go with?" And I don't really know why I said it. Like I'd never had a desire to like experience the Catholic mass before,
Mhm.
but yeah, I went with him. It was a low mass, like a shortened low mass. there was just one scripture reading.
Mm.
The homily was very short. It was about Lazarus. I remember it very clearly.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking in the middle of this mass, like, oh, this is what Catholics do at mass. Like, this is incredible. This is nothing like anything I've ever experienced in a Christian church before. And
Mm.
yeah, that was like the moment for me. Yeah.
Wow. And so at that point, was that because I think you actually started the process around like November, December timeframe?
Yeah, I think I sent in like my inquiry form like over Thanksgiving break. It was like Thanksgiving weekend that I sent that in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what was that like for you having to? I mean, at that point we hadn't covered a whole lot of material, but you had to catch up a little bit. I think um, yeah, what was that like for you trying to jump into the class, especially into the community that has been formed?
Right. I wasn't really sure what to expect because I feel like OCIA is pretty unique to Catholics and Orthodox as well, but it's definitely not something that I think a lot of Christians get to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it was interesting because I didn't feel nervous about like, am I gonna know enough or am I gonna be confused when I get there? I guess it was a matter of like how am I going to fit in like with these people like coming from a culture where as I said I wanted to be Christian but I didn't really feel like I was connecting. I was curious if I would experience that like actually being part of this like Catholic community where we're all coming together for the same goal.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I definitely found that at St. Mary's. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I think going through and I like the way that you say like you like to reason or like logically you like to think through things. What are some of the biggest takeaways from the UCA process?
Right. It was interesting getting to experience like in my journey into becoming a Catholic, going through those steps while everyone around me is also going through those steps, or at least some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really special bond, like getting to like see these people every single week
Mm-hmm.
and getting to learn the same material, but also getting to like unpack and as you said, kind of like wrestle with some topics that everyone should consider or sort of like work through as they're discerning if they do want to be a Christian or a Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that's a really special experience and bond that create such a tight knit community in a parish like that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah. So, like moving into some of the things that you might have wrestled with the most, or, um, yeah, I would say just the biggest questions you might have had, and
Yeah, I guess for me it was like for an example, talking about like the real presence. That's something that, as a Catholic, you believe like that's something you have to agree with the church. But I think until you experience the spiritual feelings behind that, and same with like receiving the Eucharist, until you actually experience that, it is sort of, or at least to me, it felt very up in the air. Like, is this something I can say I fully believe in, or that, yeah, I'm experiencing the same thing that everyone else is when they take the Eucharist or
mm-hmm.
when they are, entering a certain part of worship in the Mass, whatever it may be. Um, so those were things, I guess, concerns I had going into it. Like, am I going to feel this genuinely the way I imagine other people are?
Mm-hmm.
And that was very special to then after becoming Catholic and receiving the sacraments, being like, yes, like the answer is yes. I can feel those things, and I can truly say that I do believe in them now that I'm having this experience.
So yeah, you were also baptized this year. I think it was April 4th. Is that the vigil?
Yeah, yeah,
So April 4th of 2026. So that's a huge day for you. But I would say I've been telling stories. I think about some of the other testimonials on here. I would say one of the biggest things, and I think was just so inspiring, was to see you would also come to daily mass. I would see you at daily mass probably at like every single day. Um, what seemed like for several months leading up to the Easter Vigil,
right,
and for somebody who is not baptized or cannot receive the Eucharist, like the amount of faith that I feel like if you didn't even feel like it, the amount of faith that you grew into, recognizing that I'm here for something. It might be like a staple out of my day just to like set time aside. It was so inspiring to see you have this hunger or thirst to just want to receive the Eucharist. And even now, after seeing you at daily mass is wonderful. And it's a great joy to be able to see that. Was there anything now, I mean, I talked about daily mass, but is there anything, whether in the community, whether about the sacraments, whether just about study, whatever it might be, is there anything that you're most excited for?
Ooh, I really do look forward to daily mass every day.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's something I started doing um, right actually as soon as I got back from Thanksgiving break and I
Mm.
emailed you that I wanted to
No
join
kidding, all
OSA.
the way
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Holy
Yeah.
cow.
I I guess it was probably that next Monday. I walked in and I was like, I've never been to a mass on my own. I'd only been to the one mass
Mm.
with my to be in laws before. And I was like, let's just do it. Like, whatever. Like, no one's going to be looking at me. No one's going to wonder, like, why I'm here. Like, let's just try it out. So, yeah, I went and I sat in the back. It was Father Tim that day
Oh,
who
yeah.
was, yeah, leading the mass. And
It was a Monday. That's right.
yeah, Monday. And yeah, it was what I needed to hear at that time, and I was like, this is it, like, I just have to make this part of my routine.
Mhm.
But, so yeah, I always look forward to daily mass. Um, Aside from that, I guess, man, kinda gone through the sacraments pretty quick.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sacrament of marriage coming up in about a year. My
Yeah.
fiancé and I are both really excited to get to experience that.
Well,
Um, it's interesting because it's something we hadn't planned initially, but then in me becoming Catholic, all of a sudden we have to plan
yeah.
this new sacrament and this new type of wedding.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely
Had
been
you guys
like
like planned your wedding like at a different place before, or is it now? I don't know. How is that process
we were
for you?
honestly kind of thinking like very quick elopement, like
Yeah.
no fanfare, no nothing.
Yeah.
And we probably will keep it very, very simple,
Right.
but now we at least have the location and the time picked out. So
Oh, that's fun.
yeah.
So, just kind of thinking about the overall process of OCA, is there, or I guess I want to ask the question like, would you recommend it to the next person?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if anyone's questioning, like, just what they need to do or like what their next step should be, even if it's just like general, like spiritual disorganization, like, there's no harm in learning through OCIA.
Mm.
Like, even if it's not the commitment that person wants, I mean, it should be, but even if it's not, there's no harm coming from learning more about the Catholic Church, the Catholic faith, and even if it's stuff they already know, I mean, the fellowship that you get from it is there's no replacement for that. It's a really amazing experience.
Wow. Wonderful. Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share about your own story at all?
Um, hmm, trying to think. I guess I've kind of hit like all the points of like leading up to me deciding I wanted to be Catholic, but honestly, I guess for anyone who is wondering like if they should pursue becoming Catholic or they're kind of like riding the fence a little bit,
Yeah.
just let the Holy Spirit guide you and just do it because I really feel like that is how I ended up here. I mean, I don't feel like at any point I was dwelling on these decisions or like having tough conversations with myself about if it's really what I wanted to do. It was just like these instantaneous moments of like, I have to do this or like, this is the next step and I have to like pursue it. Um, yeah, like the February before, I guess, February of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
My fiance and I had gone to a trip to New Orleans, and I love the city of New Orleans. I love its Catholic history. I did before I was Catholic. It's just such a neat place.
Mm-hmm.
And, right in the French Quarter is the St. Louis Cathedral,
Mm.
and they have a nice gift shop. And he was playing chess in the French Quarter, so he was occupied for a few hours. And I was just going to do some shopping, and I stopped into the cathedral, and I wanted to buy him a crucifix for his apartment and we'd never really discussed like Catholicism or like, what's a relationship going to look like, him being Catholic and me not yet being Catholic. And I couldn't really tell you why I wanted to buy him a crucifix because I wasn't partaking in his religion yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought myself this crucifix necklace that I'm wearing.
Well,
And I started wearing it under my shirt every day. And that's something I couldn't tell you why I started doing that.
yeah.
Like it wasn't a deliberate decision of I feel like I need to start becoming Christian and that I want to be a Catholic. It's just those little moments where I couldn't tell you why, but it happened. And same with like going to the first mass I ever went to. Like, I don't know why I said I wanted to go, but I did. And that was the perfect moment. And I couldn't tell you why I walked into St. Mary's on that Monday after Thanksgiving, but I did. And it was the perfect moment. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So your fiance, this is gonna I just add one more question here.
Sure.
I imagine he was probably pretty excited hearing that you're gonna go through the process. And did Do you guys now talk about the faith pretty openly between each
Oh
other?
yeah, yeah. Every time we visit each other, we're constantly deciding like what parish we want to try out. Like when I visit him in Lincoln, yeah, we're constantly having like theological discussion and like discussing like church history and like it's so nice. And he loves coming to the Mustard Seed and Iowa
Mm.
City with me and browsing the books. And
Yeah,
I mean everything from discussing like Catholic philosophy and theology. It's been really amazing. Yeah. He was caught off guard for sure because I hadn't really been voicing these thoughts to him like as I was having
yeah,
them
you're
for like almost
internalizing them.
yeah,
Yeah.
like almost a whole year and I
Uh-huh.
kind of sprung it on him. That Thanksgiving, like I was like filling out the form on my phone and I looked at him and I said like I'm gonna become Catholic and he kind of just like was taken aback, like he was very surprised. But yeah, but it's been so great getting to grow in that way together and like it's a whole new plane of being connected in a relationship.
Mm. Well, that's wonderful. Awesome. Well, Maisie, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Appreciate your story, your witness, and just very excited to have you as a part of this Catholic family. So thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.